people were reading the Bible in the vernacular in one form or another prior to the arrival of the Wycliffite Bible. They would have had it in different forms or in different portions.
The first person to translate scripture into English was King Alfred the Great. He only did some little selections from the Gospels, but there are Old English compilations by King Alfred the Great.
What was unique here was a complete Bible in the current English vernacular. That was something new.
The manuscripts of the Bible were really different to how we think about what a Bible might look like today.
It's 60 years before Gutenberg, 1440, printing press. Wycliffe's Bible, as it's called, had to be handwritten.
People would make copies of parts, like of the Psalms and of their favorite parts of the Gospel and that kind of thing. Others would copy the letters of Paul. Others would copy some of the prophets.
Parchment is thick. It's far too thick to be bound, all of these millions of words bound together. As a result, it was very rare to have all of the entirety of the Bible in one book.
So it wasn't something that common people had. Lords, on the other hand, they had them. And many of the English Bibles that we still have now were in the possession of very powerful men.
The manuscripts that we have vary from sort of plain parchment to really beautifully illustrated versions.
Its reception was rocky, partly because it was associated with Wycliffe. I think it's undeniable that John Wycliffe was involved with the Wycliffite translation project. While Wycliffe does not explicitly talk about a project of translating the Bible, there's no doubt, it seems, that his hand was in the project itself, which then would have extended beyond his lifetime.
The translation is one thing. The interpretation is something else. And this, the Wycliffe Bible, was developed to be interpreted according to Wycliffe's hermeneutic of Scripture. That's the critical thing.
So the very principle of reading the Bible in English was not the issue. The issue was whether this translation could be vetted. But when the Bible was attached to Wycliffe, and hence the Wycliffite movement, which was itself highly suspect, this is what raised concern.
Wycliffe Bibles were regarded by the church as not reliable. This is dangerous in the hands of the laity.
Eventually, the English Parliament passed a law that said you could not translate the Bible into English on pain of death.
The English Bible was an affront to theologians who thought that the Bible needed to be studied in the form of the Vulgate, which is the Latin Bible. Wycliffe's followers, on the other hand, were delighted to have this material.
There are many, many manuscripts of the Wycliffite Bible, not necessarily in complete form, but nevertheless so many that clearly it had a popular following.
And people would hear for the first time in their own language the mighty deeds of God